Greetings, everyone. I have always encouraged people, especially young people, that they can be a rose in a field of green. While the green is so lush and so beautiful, you can stand out as that rose. And when it comes to encouraging people, that's what I try to do. When it comes to my work, paid work especially, that is what I try to do. I try to stand out as a rose. Now, sometimes you're standing out as a rose and you're not noticed, but those who need to notice you will notice. And those who want to have this fragrant rose in their presence will come and pick that rose. Okay? Now, I wanted to say a lot more in my previous video, but I didn't want to make that video too long. And I'm going to say this here because this is really a problem that I see in our community. When you have the opportunity, which is often denied to other persons, it is your responsibility to use that opportunity to encourage others. There is a difference in encouraging people and, sort of flaunting your success on other people. It's okay to know or recognize or accept that there are people in our different communities. And if we talk about Jamaica, Jamaica is filled with talent and possibilities that sometimes go untapped. There are talented people, and all they want is an opportunity, a chance to flourish in that field of green. So when you gain access, you are supposed to try to open the door to invite other persons in that space. Now, let me get into this story. I met a woman who became a very good friend of mine. She's like a mother figure in my life. And when I used to share stories with this lady, she often told me that she never went to school. And I would say to her, "What do you mean you never went to school? Did you finish at all age?" Because at that time, that's how it was, all age for these age group. You get to grade 6 and then you stop going to school. But she said, "I just never got a chance to go to school. My mother never sent me. And when I saw kids going to school, I used to cry." Now, I don't know her reason for her mom not to send her to school, but it was a sad situation. And so when I was in school, I would come home, and if it was literature, if it was psychology, if it was sociology, it didn't matter what the subject was. I used to share my thoughts with this lady, everything I was learning. I remember one summer I was taking a literature course, and I remember reading all my text, and you have a lot of text to read within a 4 month period. And I read all these texts with her. And, I would explain to her that with literature, it's not as it appears to be, that there is double meaning. Sometimes you interpret the book a way that not even the writer intended, but you're looking for these themes and these symbols and so on. And I was reading a story to her, talking about this lady making her black cake, and the symbolism of the black cake and what the burnt sugar meant. She was really talking about slavery and teaching her child about her history. She was so amazed. And so I remember saying to her one day, "Would you like to go to my class with me?" And she says, "How is it possible? You can't go to university and you didn't pay for it." And I said, "Yes, it's a hall. It's a lecture hall. Professor doesn't have time to see if the person that I'm bringing in the class with me is a part of the class. Just come." I just wanted her to get that experience. And I remember when she came with me, and keep in mind, she's in her 60s, mid 60s or something at this time. And just the look on her face, just this chance to say, I sat in a university class. The lady was very bright. I used to be able to, share my ideas with her, and we would shoot the breeze, as they would say, and she would give me ideas or interpretation of stuff that I'm learning. And she never went to school. So a lot of persons that are not going to school have not gained access to school, or gained the opportunity you and I have. We can't then look at them and say, "Look at me up here. This is what I've achieved. Look how important I am." Because given the circumstance, if the roles were flipped and you were in their shoes, or you were born in their family, you wouldn't have had those opportunities. I also want to say that there are a lot of people in Jamaica or anywhere in the world who are true academics, who are brilliant. I know people with PhD who is working in a factory. They don't want to do that job, but it's the job that is available to them. So because you have education, it doesn't mean that your life is going to be sorted out. In fact, there's a lot of hurt people, a lot of people who are very bitter, who have been told or drank the lemonade that if you're educated, it's your path to success, financial success. For me, my education or my attainment in life as far as education is concerned have not really benefited me that much financially. It has given me the opportunity to perhaps defend myself in certain circumstances, to understand my rights in other circumstances, to promote, you know, betterment, or to encourage other folks to say, okay, education can be a vehicle if you know how to use it. Most of us, when we get our education, we're not using it to open business or to become our own boss. We're still tied up in the master's plan. We're still, you know, answering to the man. And so, as long as you're working for someone else, you can't be too confident in your education. And so we have to be mindful of those who pursue other areas. Some people are entrepreneurs, they go into business, they have never set foot in a school. I see people who are doing great things, they can't string a sentence together. When you listen to them speak, they sound very ignorant, but you have to give them their credit because they're moving, they're shaking, they're doing things. And so we have to be careful. You have to also remember that as a human being, you know, living in this world, this thing we call a body, it often will fail you. And so you could have 5 PhD. You could even climb to the top of your career. And one thing happens to you. You become ill, and all that counts for nothing. I have friends, I have colleagues, I have other persons who are nurses, for example, you know, who would have 2 jobs, one in the hospital, one in the community, and they're making money and they're doing things, they're purchasing homes, they're doing all kinds of stuff. And before you know it, illness set in. And before you know it, they can no longer work in that thing that gave them so much pride. So I'm not saying you shouldn't take pride in your career and your achievements. I'm just saying watch out how you're dealing with people when you have it. You know, when I was a kid, I heard someone say, be careful how you treat folks when you're on your way up, because you might just meet them on the way down. We see that our people are resilient. We see the stories of people who were called dunce in Jamaica, and those folks go away to the United States, and when they come back, they have associate degrees, they have masters, they have PhD. These folks just needed the opportunity, and they needed someone to understand their learning styles. So when you find yourself in a privileged position, humble. Although I must say, I notice the people who are not humble, they're the ones who get the love and the attention, and the ones who are humble oftentimes get slapped and kicked and ignored. But just to those ones, I'm saying be patient. It's hard to be patient and wait for your turn. You know, because you're always saying, when is it gonna be my time? And you feel down. I get discouraged sometimes because there are things that I want to do. And then when I don't see it happening, even though you're putting in the work and you're not seeing it, I have to remind myself that, you know what, it takes time. It takes time. Okay. I think there's this song, sitting by the dock, waiting for whatever it to come in. I'm always waiting for some kind of ship to come in. And many of us are in that place waiting for that moment when things change for us. But while you have the opportunity, remember to put your hand down and to lift somebody up, not to put your foot down and stomp them in the ground. Because where they are at today might be where you are tomorrow. Be humble, be kind, be mindful. Arrogance get the best of us. And we must remember, as I said, this body will fail you. And when you're dealing with other human beings, they will fail you too. So don't use your opportunity or your education as a weapon. It must be a tool. And everyone can learn. Everyone has an ability. Some people are going to be academic, some people are skilled, some people are talkers, some people are so charismatic they will talk you into giving them every dime. I see that on social media. People use psychology. People who other folks would call dunce use psychology and get folks to give them hundreds and thousands of dollars. And they're not brilliant in the way they speak, but they're brilliant in the way they know how to get you to do things for them. So we have to understand and respect everybody's also, but put yourself in a position where you're uplifting with your words for the most part, because we all have our moment when we're negative. But try to use your blessings to uplift others, not to curse them, not to silence them, not to make them feel worse about themselves, because we all have something that you look in the mirror and you're not happy with this. You look into your bank account, you're not thrilled with that. You're looking at all your hopes and your dreams and you're sitting there waiting for that ship to come in, waiting for that opportunity, hurting. And so when you're careless with your words, when your opportunities come and you start to say you're more blessed than somebody else, that's careless. I'd rather, like I say, sit in a room with everybody that says, this is how you helped me. This is how you motivated me. This is how you blessed me. As opposed to me telling you, oh, be like me. If you would just do what I do, then you would be wonderful. It's not good. So I'm not talking about saying be humble and saying, you shouldn't celebrate your success. I'm just saying, what are you doing with your success? How many persons have you impacted with it? Not just with what you're saying, but with your action. All my friends was gaining access to a university education, even though they were not attending physically. I went to university because two persons motivated me, a teacher and a friend, and they both said the same thing. Do you want me to beg you to go? Okay, I'm going to beg you. Gave me my reference and encouraged me. They saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. I wasn't that confident. But their role as a teacher or as a friend motivated me and made me believe in my ability to do this thing. And so that's what we have to do when we get opportunity. When we are blessed with certain opportunity that's denied to others, we must encourage them. We must motivate them. It's better to motivate folks instead of just handing things to them, to encourage them to say, you can do this, you can do this, be their cheerleader. And while you're doing that, you're centered on not just building yourself, but building these individuals. A lot of persons says, I am a motivator, a motivational speaker. But you're not motivating others. You're making others feel bad about themselves. And that is not good. And sometimes people do this and it's not their intention. But it doesn't matter if it's your intention. That is the outcome. Okay? We have to be careful. Again, when you're on your way up, you're meeting folks. You might disrespect folks. And then when you're coming down, because that's life, it's a cycle. This year and last year teaches us that. The world is a cycle. And you never know what is around the bend. You never know what you have to encounter. So many people had money, to just spend carelessly. And all of a sudden, everybody was pinching penny. A lot of people will never recover. Their career will just go down. That will be it for them. And then when they're going down, there are other new persons coming up in the music industry, in the movie industry, in the job. People will become entrepreneurs because of it, and some people will lose everything because of it. So we have to be very cautious and, be mindful of what we're saying to people. And if you want to motivate and encourage others, find the opportunity to do that. Share your stories. Nothing is wrong with that. But as you share your stories, be careful about how you're saying, look at me and look at your situation. Forgive me, guys, I'm always talking so fast, but you get the point. And this is not going to be edited, so all the bloops and the blunders are going to remain in this video. The only persons that motivate me or encourage me are people who are, to be honest with you, very humble, and folks who share their story in a way to encourage me, not to make me feel like, look at me and look at you. That never works for me. And we just have to be careful how we deal with each other. We just have to be careful and just understand that life is funny and things change quickly. Stay blessed, everyone.